As you can see, for the purpose of this task, I didn't do the outsides of the ship. That's because I didn't want to set up the light. The scope of the project is really huge, and I wanted to easily show you the insides of this layout. As you see, it's pretty interesting. These columns serve as covers and in the same time as a main like atmospheric parts of the ship that show that's a really huge place that needed extra extra setup. So this is we even have the bridge in the middle, so there could be added some adventure mechanics, and they could be pretty interesting. Here we have covers set up. It was a challenge to get extra covers but also leave this open space shown as the real docking bay for the ships. You know, I referenced some sci-fi movies and previous games and even Mass Effect. As you can hear in the back, there is a soundtrack of Mass Effect. So what we see is this whole setup with the main doors in the back and the main window that leads to our goal, the mainframe. The whole goal of this level is to capture this mainframe, but to weaken the enemies and to even get to this mainframe, we need to destroy or control the power source of the ship. This would be put into a quest as I planned, so the player will know beforehand what his task is. And so when the player sees like this room, he immediately knows that this is his goal. We can set up something distinguishable for him to more easily get the idea, like some art assets that show computer screens, so that it will be easily understandable that that is the main goal, the main room. So there is an enemy setup. It's, as you see, not pretty challenging on the first floor, but on the second floor we have two enemies from the left and two enemies in the right part. They will have the advantage because of the heights, but we have these stairs if the player is, you know, very brave and wants some more interactions, but to balance it out, the enemies are really slow. So the main way player needs to approach is here. I plan to show this by placing some health pickups or maybe weapons for the player to get as the breadcrumbs to this way. And the other way I can use is to show some pipes that go through all these colored pipes that are used as leading lines, and also show that the power source is inside, and this corridor goes to the power source of the ship. So this is an interactive door. We go through it and we get to the corridor that is made in some horror-like atmosphere. This will have proper lights, of course, but for now covers will do. So as you can see, we can travel through this corridor, and enemy setup is as such as for player to get some, slower pacing in the beginning of the corridor because no enemies are here. But then we have kind of horror feeling when we turn around the corner and see an enemy. Immediately we have to battle 3 of them, and we have a cover setup for it. They're pretty close-knit, close quarter, and when we hopefully easily win them, we travel through here. As you see, there is a hole, but in the end of it is an elevator. So you can easily come back, but this elevator could be removed so that we can unload this corridor and gain more performance. Because player basically doesn't need to get back here. This ship in the end has the main doors through it. So the player doesn't have to go this way. He easily will get through the ship using the main doors in the end. You'll see. And this is the room with the power source. Originally this power source could be just an energetic source, but for the purpose of this task I imagined something like this, like a huge dark fantasy animal that will produce some kind of gas that powers up the ship, that is really sci-fi, really atmospheric, and this could be a highlight and maybe choke point for PvP in the end. There is also a puzzle planned here. So these pipes power up the ships. They clearly go through this corridor and even to the main bridge of the ship and power up the mainframe. But to go through this room and to destroy the power source and easily access the mainframe, we need to destroy these pipes. But when we shoot them, they burst with this gas, so it is not easy to go through this room. This puzzle will be set up so that the player should choose what pipes he hits to destroy the power source for the mainframe, but what he shouldn't hit to easily get through and not be damaged. So we are going through and we are using the elevator and we are getting here to the main room at last. So as you see, for now mainframe is easily approachable, but we have this enemy setup that adds difficulty, but this room also can be approached by the enemies outside that could be respawned in the end. So this will be far more challenging. But we also can balance out the count of the enemies in this room. As you see, it has a lot of elevations, a lot of covers, so the battle here could be interesting when the enemies will be properly set up, because AI now is kinda screwed up, but it is like the reason of it is this is custom AI written by some random programmer, so in the team we can use some better bells programming, AI programming. So when the player wins, he can easily get through these doors and leave the ship. As you see, we have only 2 ways for the enemies to approach us, and the enemies inside this room. So every room is balanced for PvP in some ways, and this included. The player will not feel overwhelmed, as I plan this level as one of the beginning levels of the game. Yeah, so let's play it. As I mentioned before, the AI setup for now is pretty basic, it needs work, but the main idea you can probably get. Player appears here after using, like, entering with his own ship. It is kind of smaller than this huge one, and we are beginning here. The enemies immediately try to approach us, but we go through this door, we shoot them. Shooting mechanics are absent in this project, so I can show it for now, but you can imagine as we go through here, we can use this cover, and the enemy is here. So imagine this enemy attacks us, and we can easily use those covers to emerge victorious. And we can use these rooms and easily go around it. Yeah, as you see, this AI is not very clever and shoots even through the walls, but still. And there's also enemies here, and then you go through this elevator and the puzzle. We win this puzzle, figure out how to do this, and then go here. Here we battle the enemies from this room using these covers. Here, and maybe crouching here. Yeah. And maybe even this part of the room. And then, when we emerge victorious again, there will be a glass here. Actually, they couldn't shoot through this. We go, for example, through this door and get here. Here I'm getting huge Mass Effect vibes. Yeah, we battle enemies here and probably jump through this bridge and get back to our ship. That is all. Thank you for watching.